Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible Teaching Snippet of the day. And you can tell I hadn't made myself up real pretty for you today. I've been out and about running around doing errands a little bit. Not much, really. Here's what I've really came to town for, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from where I live. I live out in the country. And so I came into the city of Memphis and the city of Germantown today. I had a massage that was an hour and a half, and then I had a stretching little session after that. So I've been at the Massage Envy for almost 3 hours. Anyway, so I'm pulled over in a parking lot. I want to do a real quick teaching. Yesterday, I was talking to you about Mark chapter 13, verse 30 and 31. And I was telling you that verse, that phrase that Jesus used, the heavens and the earth, or the heaven, it was singular, the heaven and the earth. And in some translations, it says the heaven and of the earth, will pass away. And I talked about how just to hear the word heaven separated from earth, which also that word there in the Greek means the land, not just earth, like the whole earth, but it means a specific area, But when heaven, where God lives, his abode, and then the earth separately, right? But when you put it together in the old Judaism and the Jewish mindset of the first century, when they said that as a phrase, the heavens and the earth, they automatically knew that meant the temple and the city of Jerusalem, Because it was God's home in the earth, the temple, that's where God would come to abide with people, and it was his connection to the earth. So the heavens and the earth, and I translated it for you yesterday, and I'll just do it again as a review. This could easily be translated as Jesus saying that the temple and the land of Israel, or the people of Israel, the city of Jerusalem, or the people in the city of Jerusalem, would pass away, perish, or be destroyed. But my words will not pass away, be destroyed, or perish, Now, from there to as I ended my video yesterday, I read from an article, and the name of the article, well, before I do that, I just wanted to read this yesterday, and I didn't. And I want to show you how crazy we can make things sound when we don't understand what's being said in the Bible. I want to read to you what the ICB, that's the International Children's Bible, ICB, how it reads in this verse. Watch this. This is so... The whole world, the earth and the sky, will be destroyed, but the words that I have said will never be destroyed. Can you even imagine having this child's Bible read to your child in a Sunday school, because it's a children's Bible, and your little 5 or 6 or 8-year-old comes home and says, "Oh my goodness, mommy, look," and they're in complete shock that God would actually do that to the heaven where he lives. Look, we tell people that when people pass away, they go to heaven. So when we have translations that say the heaven and the earth will be destroyed, what are we going to do with all of our loved ones that are in heaven? Anyway, I digress. I just wanted to share that with you. Now, what I did is yesterday, as I was ending the video, I read from an article, and the title of it, it doesn't ask if or when the heaven and earth will pass away. This is the title. This is by Paul Penley, and he says, "When heaven and earth passed away, everything changed." In other words, he already knows exactly that what Jesus, and I'm going to read just a little from what I did yesterday. Jesus knew, this is his article, that Jerusalem and her temple, Jerusalem the city, right, the land where the people are, right there in the city around the temple, and her temple were about to be destroyed. It happened in AD 70, just like Jesus said, these things must come to pass within this generation. These people standing here, this generation, these things will happen in this generation. Got it? That the temple and the city of Jerusalem were going to be destroyed, and he gave significance to it in his teachings, And here's the one I want to pick up on, because I want to talk about this today. The entire Torah would be set aside once the temple crumbled. And as I closed my video yesterday, I read from you the verse where Jesus was referring to, this gentleman is referring to in Jesus, what Jesus said. This is Matthew 5:18. For truly, and I'm going to read it to you where we understand what we're saying, okay? For truly I say to you, until the temple and the city of Jerusalem have been destroyed, passed away, not one iota or one stroke will by no means pass away from the law or from the Torah until all these things take place. Now, doesn't that make sense now? Did you know that once the temple and the city of Jerusalem were sacked by the Romans in AD 70, once that temple was gone, all the sacrificial systems went away, the priesthood system changed dramatically, okay? And guess what else passed away over time with that, right behind the temple being destroyed? The Torah, the law. The new covenant came into place, and that's when all the Gentiles and the rest of the world were brought into the kingdom. That's moving into a different teaching. What I want to do today is I want to talk to you a little bit more and show you something else. But listen, let me put it to you this way today about the heavens and the earth pass away. Did you know that if I said it's raining cats and dogs, and you can switch the verb around and say there's dogs and cats falling out of the sky, did you, and you knew, because you were living in this time era, the time that I'm talking this way, and what those phrases meant when I put those words together, we fully know what cats and dogs are, but we also know they're not raining down out of the sky, right? Anybody I said that to in that phrase would completely clearly understand what I meant is it's raining really, really hard outside. Big drops of water, sheets of water, and the place is getting soaking wet, right? You would never later, 2,000 years later, say, yeah, you know that prophet Faye, she said that it was going to rain cats and dogs, and we're waiting for that to happen because God is going to rain cats and dogs out of the sky. Got it? Okay. Let me move on now. Today I want to talk to you about Matthew 5:18. And this is what I just read to you. For truly, truly, or verily I say unto you, the temple and the city of Jerusalem shall pass away, but not one iota or one stroke will by no means pass away from the Torah until all these things take place. Now, I want to connect a scripture with you today, okay? When Jesus was talking about how not one stroke or one dot would pass away from the law, or because he did not come. Now, I'm on another scripture, and I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find it. I apologize. Let me see if I can find the location of this scripture. I don't think I made a note of it, and you'll have to forgive me. I can post it. Oh, it's Matthew 5:17. Do not think. Now, see, this is Matthew 5:18 is what I read to you out of the disciples' literal. So I'm going up one verse above that. Okay, babies? Sorry about that. I didn't mark it good. Bible teacher apologizes. Matthew 5:17, the verse above it. I'm going to read that to you. Jesus is still talking now, okay? He says, do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Today, I'm going to use the rest of my time and I'm going to talk to you about that specific verse and bring a different meaning to it. Okay, we're going to talk about Hebrew idioms again, okay? Let me just read to you, let's start here, okay? You know, here, and I just used a saying that we use about raining cats and dogs, but did you know our English language is filled with idioms, just like the Hebrew language, the Aramaic language. People have different little phrases and sayings that the people of that day understand, but 100 years, 500 years, 2,000 years, it's different. Watch, I'm going to give you a handful of ours. Eat your heart out. You know, 500 years from now, people might think that we were eating each other. Okay. To kill time. You're blowing my mind. I've got to go punch the clock. I'm going to go crash. See, these are like idioms in the English for us. So these are understood today, but previous days before us, people not from our culture or even in the future, I'm going to read from something that I wrote down. And can you imagine how confusing the simple phrases, the things that I just said would be for someone in another culture, speaking another language. And now let's add in another time. Let's say another 2,000 years from now, from the times of Jesus till now, to 2,000 years forward, some of the things that I say. If they don't understand, and they could just read these totally different, right? Okay. We see the same problem in Scripture because we're reading with 21st century eyes and thinking, our brains are thinking, and we try to apply them to us in our culture, in our day, specifically to us. Sometimes, guys, things aren't even meant to be applied to us. And if we are applying them, we're going to have to understand what the phrases and the idioms, if you want to call it, meant in that day. So, real quick, I want to tell you a little more about, well, let me find my last little notes, and I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Where Jesus said, "Do not think that I came to destroy the law and the prophets." This is so interesting because that did not mean that Jesus was going to destroy it. But in other what it really actually means is in the day of Jesus, okay, in ancient times, the Torah, they taught about the reverence and obedience to the Torah. So with that thought in mind, okay, what he was saying is, I did not come to distort or misrepresent, okay, to destroy. If someone misrepresented or pulled, like we do in churches, oh my goodness, people pull things out of context and misteach it. And this is what Jesus was saying. Do not think that I have come. And what they would say if somebody was teaching things out of context, they would call it destroying the law. You're destroying the Bible by teaching it out of context. That's what Jesus was saying. Do not think that I have come to destroy, to misteach, to twist, or to change what the Torah says. No, not at all. What I have come to do is to teach it in its fullest to what it really meant and what God meant in the Torah. You know, I did a series not long ago about the difference in fulfilling the letter of the law versus fulfilling the spirit of the law. Jesus did not come to twist and distort and to what they would call, guys, think about this, destroy. He didn't come to destroy the law by manipulating it and twisting it and teaching it incorrectly. But instead, he came to correct those who had taught it wrong and had taught others to not live the way they should with a heart and love toward each other, but rather they were just living out of fear of God and of the religious leaders of the day if they didn't follow all the rules correctly. So Jesus came to fulfill the Torah by correcting and teaching exactly what it meant. Now, I know this goes way out beyond what some of us have understood what Jesus meant by that. But if a rabbi or believed one of his colleagues, and I'll read this, had misinterpreted Scripture, he would be accused of destroying the law and the prophets. Conversely, to fulfill Scriptures was to interpret them correctly. Well, listen, I've gone almost my full time that I want to do today, so I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to tell you I love you, and I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to stop, make one more stop. You know I love to love on people, even though I'm not touching them and laying hands on them and all. I'm still loving them. I'm loving them. And I got one more stop to make, and then I'm going to go home and see my wonderful husband and my beautiful 2 little kittens and my 5, I call them babies, but they're actually 6-year-old dogs anyway, and spend some time at home with my family. I love you, and I'll see you here tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.